I am. I am what I am. I don't want praise. I don't want pity.
Hey everybody, welcome to Deborah Kobylt Live. I love that song from La Cage, and my guest in studio is Patrika Darbo, and she selected that. I am what I am. I can't sing either, by the way. I cannot hold a tune, but I seem to say that every day of my life. I am what I am, so deal with it.
Well, I think that's the most important thing we all have to deal with is that we are what we are, and we should be what we are and not cater to what other people want us to be.
And Patrika is a primetime Emmy-winning actress. It's a mouthful for me. You're currently on The Bold and the Beautiful on CBS, and you just started up with them this year in 2007,
yes,
right?
Yes, I was
But
very
you
blessed.
have done an awful lot. One of my favorites was Roseanne and Tom behind the scenes. I thought you were spectacular.
Thank you.
I'm like, wait a minute, who am I watching? Is this Patrika or is this Roseanne?
I was very lucky, and it was good to play the queen, yes.
Good to play the queen.
Yes.
You met her.
Yes, I did. I got to do her show. I played Dan's dream lover on her show.
I love that.
He kind of fell in love with me because I was very much like Roseanne. And then I got to play her.
Wow. So did you get to talk with her to do this piece? I
Sort of briefly.
Just to sort of channel her? That would be kind of hard.
Kind of
right?
briefly, we were on an elevator together. I was going to my doctor. She was coming from her doctor. We met on the elevator, and she said, "Patrika, why?" Like this. And she was there, and she said,
There, you nailed her right there.
"I like what you did, but you cried too much." So, but that was it. And she was very generous to me when she was on different shows talking about it. She wasn't as kind to the Fox lady, but I'm very lucky because I got to do her show. I got to meet her. I got to work with her. And I think she was the queen at that time for sure. And she's coming back.
Yes, she is. But you have been in this business for 3 decades, which is remarkable in this town. And you have done television, you have done film, and you've got major staying power. But when we were talking on the phones, we did a little bit of a pre-interview. You said, and that's not so easy, the staying power in this town.
No, it's not. And considering the fact, too, for me, I was a full-time lady executive for 20 years, working part-time acting because it didn't fit.
Whoa. What did you do as an executive and part-time
I was the
actress?
national credit manager for James B. Lansing Sound.
Oh.
They manufacture speakers. And
Okay, so you
probably
did
have
this-
them in here.
Probably. So you did this full-time, and then on the side?
I never took vacation because if I got an audition or something, I would turn in my vacation time or hours there. And if I got a job, then I would turn in vacation time for the 3 or 4 days, maybe a week that I worked.
Wow. Now, that was in the beginning of your career? Or you?
That was, pretty much the beginning of my career. I met my husband in a little theater. We met and got married on stage.
Oh.
And held
How
on
long have you been together?
44 years.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, I have staying power everywhere, babe. Except for a diet. I think they come, they go.
You know what? That's a tough one. I think that's a tough one for a lot of people.
I think so.
I get it. I've been way up and I've been way down and somewhere in the middle. And, we'll talk about that a little bit later, too.
You got it.
But, in a way, if that's part of who you are, it becomes part of the roles that you go for, too, right?
I think it is. It's like sometimes you think, okay, if I suddenly, first of all, my talent is not in the extra role I have muffin top here. That's not where my talent is. So whether I'm up or down doesn't take away from my talent. It just tells the industry as to what category they want to put me in.
In a way, it's a little easier because you're very free with who you are. You're like, as the song said, I am who I am. And you're saying, I am Patrika. I am of a certain age. I may not be as thin as the girl over there, but I'm talented and I can play her and I can do that and you can put me in that. It's still tough, though, in this town because a lot of times they have an idea of what they're looking for.
Well, because I think the industry doesn't reflect the American image, just using American or the world image. There are, if you look, your next door neighbor is not a perfect size.
This is L.A. Yes, she is.
Well, mine aren't. My lady's been there for as long as I've lived there, and even though she's the most wonderful person, she's not, a starlet by any means in any category of age as a starlet. So I think it's important that we realize, life is too short. You've got to, don't wait to lose the 10 pounds. Get your ass out there and do something right now.
So when you were working full time, I want to just sort of circle back
Okay.
to when you started. Because it's also a little different now. You know, a lot of people, my friend is a young actress. She's in her 20s, and she does most of her auditions now online. I mean,
I
they'll be
hate it.
watching her. Well, because how can they really feel who you are or your emotions, But that's what's happening now.
Well, it's so hard, and I think basically right now, because I've lost a job because I didn't have as many Twitter followers as someone else did. So it's not so much now as your talent is, it's got how many eyes you have on it, i.e. why we have so many YouTube stars and so many internet stars, because if they have 1 million eyes on it, that's where you want to put your marketing. That's where you want to put your advertising. So
You know what I've decided? I want to do something that I enjoy, that I think is quality, and that people in my demographic want to see. And I've decided I'm so tired of worrying about or obsessing over the number, because the number is kind of easy to achieve if you know how to work it. But doing the work that you're proud of at this point, I just think is more important. But I get it. If you don't have the number of Twitter followers that you should have.
Well, because it's all about bean counting at this point. How many eyes, how many dollars are coming in. It's not about the important thing is we learned in college as far as being entertainers. The windows, your eyes are the windows to your soul. This is where you act. This is what you do. And when you're just looking into a camera and you're not sure who you're reading with, or whether you're supposed to look at the camera guy or the person reading, who am I looking at? What am I doing? And those things, you're losing that heart of what you're doing.
I think it's going to start to circle back a little bit, because nobody's buying anything when they're on Twitter and when they're on Facebook and YouTube. And for all these people who say, oh my God, like we can advertise on the show and the ad will be scrolling underneath. They're not really getting results.
I don't have it in front of me right now, but I will forward to you so you can have it just for you to look at the difference in how television is changing right this moment, and how everything is on your phone, how everybody's traveling and watching. That's why people are falling off cliffs, because they're not paying attention. But most of the viewers they're catering to are the 18 to 25-year-olds. They are not at home watching television at night with their husband snuggled on the sofa having popcorn and a glass of wine. And what are they? And
I never did that either.
it's kind of fun at times.
Yeah. You live a little more fun life than I do, apparently.
But you know what I'm saying? It's just I think the number one show most of the time right this moment is NCIS on my network, CBS, and it's because it's age things. The stars were aged a little bit more. I think they're missing the boat a little bit, in my opinion, and everybody has an opinion, as everyone. They lost one star and replaced him with 3 or 4 others, and their ratings still are going down. So you need
finding that even in local TV news. They're thinking, let's get rid of the seasoned one that everybody loved tuning into in the morning, and then all of a sudden they just throw somebody else out there, adorable, and bright too. I'm not going to take anything away from her or him, but nobody's watching them. They don't have a history with them, because there's a real reason. People have to listen to this. If you're a little older, and by older, let's just say like even over 35, 40, let's put it that way, and you were pretty much you would tune in to your program, you're still doing that a little bit. So you can't just do away with the people who are of that age. You know what I mean? You still have to cater to people who are over 40 years of age, don't you think?
Well, I think so. The federal government says at 40 you can't discriminate against a 40-year-old anymore. There's a law in the books now. But unfortunately, they find a different way to get rid of the 40-year-old and bring in 2 20-year-olds at half the money. So, it's good to be old, and it's not good to be old.
You know what I say? There's so much room for people. I think, I'm not an actress, but I think in broadcasting, for example, I stepped away. I worked for CNN for some time, and then I've got 3 kids, so I stepped away for a little bit, and I go back and I do some, per diem reporting and corresponding, but I think, I don't want to be on their schedule. I want to be on mine. So I'm designing my own thing. I think in a way it's very exciting. And same with acting, right? I mean,
well, for me, it's kind of looking into things to produce a little bit. I'd like to produce. And as we talked a little bit on the phone the other day, it's about trying to find something that people in our age group would like to sit down and watch and enjoy, and not have banging music going on that we don't understand. And then somebody said, well, you don't like it because you're old. Well, I don't like it because it's bad. But It's,
It's bad, and I have to tell you, I've never been someone to just sit down and watch television. I don't even think I'm very energetic and just sitting there. Oh my God, I can't do it. I watch stuff on my phone when I watch. And for me, the reason why I don't watch sometimes is because a lot of stuff's just not that interesting. You need someone who can write and produce something. And age, I don't know.
Well, you got to be something you relate to. Even you, if you're using your phone, you're doing something that you relate to. You're not suddenly watching, the 20-year-old show, unless you're trying to get something for your radio show to talk about. I think we use it for information to see what our subjects we should talk about, what we're going to do. But there are times you just want to sit down and relax and watch something.
Advertisers have to realize that people over 40, they've got the money to spend on stuff. People that are 40 and that are 50, and your publicist is nodding because it's true. They do. I mean, I'm the one traveling. I'm the one spending money on whatever I want. And and so are my friends. I mean, it's not like my parents, actually they were kind of active, but a lot of people that were much older, they were more sedentary. Nowadays, you're just active. You're getting up, you're doing stuff, you want to work, you want to write a project, produce it. They have to understand, and I think they are. I think they're realizing we got the money, right?
One of the things, too, that I thought about would be a great sci-fi thing that I've sort of been hashing around is imagine all this electricity around us went out. Suddenly
I need the lighting, otherwise I'll look terrible.
You look fabulous, honey. But if you didn't have your phone, you didn't have anything, and you didn't have access to any electrical things whatsoever, who's going to survive? The people that knew how to build a fire, the people that know how to read.
Oh my God, I was terrible at building a fire. I can read, but I get your point.
But you know what I'm saying? At this point, everything is on that device in your hand. If the device in your hand disappears, what happens?
I think people, and I don't like to say young because I always actually feel young. I actually think I am young. Maybe, newsflash, I guess I'm not, but I feel young. But I get your point. Like people who grew up with only looking at the screen, I swear to God. Yesterday I was walking down the steps going somewhere, and there was someone walking toward me, a young girl, and she was not looking up. And I thought, we're going to collide. So I kind of stood there thinking, is she ever going to look up? And by the time she saw my feet, she looked up and she was startled. And I said, I was wondering when you're going to look up. She simply wasn't looking up. And then we passed each other, and I turned around. She was looking down again. I'm thinking, she's skilled, though. At least she didn't fall up the stairs.
One of the interesting things just recently was an open magazine on the floor and like a baby of 18 months sliding its hand across the picture, trying to get it to move. Because the baby...
Oh, yes. I'm like, where's she going with this? Yes.
So you have an 18-month-old trying to slide a magazine because they're so used to computers.
But that's the new way. That's the way it's going to be. This, and I'm trying to work with it and just sort of let people realize that, a good story is still a good story. A good show is still a good show. Let's look at Roseanne, for example, the original TV show. It was so well written, whether it was your type of show you like to watch or not. Me, I didn't watch it, but I recognize how brilliant it was written.
Well, because she hit everything that everybody was going through, or were afraid to say or not afraid to say, or...
Right, fighting with the husband, weight loss, the sister that's a pain in the neck, just everything. The kids that are driving you crazy.
And the good girl, the bad girl sister. The whole thing with things that we all related to. And that's what we need, is things we all relate to that we can go,
I say appeal to the advertisers, and there has to be a campaign to let them realize, again, we talked about this, we've got the money. So, but the way to do that, especially somebody like you who's so smart, develop your own stuff. Develop it online if you must. Just develop your own.
It's true. Because I want to keep, it's like I'm not dead. I don't want to go in a box or sit alone all the time. I want to keep doing and growing and doing other things. So yes, to develop my own stuff right this moment. And then there's sometimes when you just go to hell with it. I'm going to take my golf clubs and I'm going to go golf and have lunch with the ladies and do what I want to do. So
I find right now to be very exciting because I feel like anything goes. And sometimes I'll get a call from a network, do you want to do this? And I say, no, because it has to be on my terms, the way I want to live. And I feel like, a little bit of that is for you as an actress.
Yeah, there's a power in, when I was 25 going, okay, I'll do the role. I don't care. I'll do it. Yeah. I need the press. Whatever. Honey, been there, done that. Okay. So, but now you get a little older and you go, no, I don't want to do that. Let somebody else. I don't want to.
What are some of the favorite roles that you've been involved in? What really did you love working on, and who did you really enjoy working with? You've worked with so many people. You've worked with Meg Tilly and Christine
Leaving
Lott.
Normal was a wonderful film. It came out the year after.
With Meg Tilly.
Yeah, with Meg Tilly and Christine Lottie.
They're fantastic.
They were wonderful
I happen
to
to
work
love
with.
Meg Tilly. I'd love to meet her.
But
I
that-
think she's a huge talent.
That movie opened in Los Angeles the day of the riots. So it got no coverage. It was nothing. And it came out the year after Thelma and Louise, which in my opinion, not even if I hadn't done it, Leaving Normal is a better movie because it's a movie that says no matter where you go, there you are. Mm-hmm. So you need to fix what's inside before you start looking for something. And I think that's a good motto for all of us, fix what's here.
What was it like working with them?
They were both very generous, wonderful ladies to work with. We were in Vancouver, and it was a nice little part. I got to come in with those two ladies. It was great. I had a good time.
I would think collaborating with a lot of the women that you've worked with would be a great idea. Calling them up and saying, you know what? We're of a certain time and a certain age. Let's get together and do something. Let's devise something.
Well, I think because of the fact that we are actresses and we're working all the next part, a lot of times we don't keep in touch. Meg retired a great deal. She's just now getting back into it, though.
Yeah,
her sisters.
I just saw her getting back into it in something. What was
it, I can't remember what it was.
Yeah, she plays Brad Pitt's wife.
Brad Pitt's wife. There's a way to get back into the business. I'll get back. I was in a movie.
They
once.
never called for that.
I was in a movie. I was in the Nightmare on Elm Street thing, and I've read for things that I was supposed to be in recently. These things just didn't pan out. I'll be Brad Pitt's wife if somebody wants to do that. I mean, what a way back in.
Like I said, they haven't called, but I'll go back in there too.
Good Lord. Good for her. I think she is so brilliantly talented, and her sister
wonderful.
as well.
But she decided to go and raise her kids and get out of everything. So that's what she went and did. And Jennifer, her sister's now bringing her back in. So, and Christine, of course, is married to a wonderful producer. So she really didn't have to. So she has a lot of opportunities there. I had a great time working. John Malkovich was brilliant.
Please.
And Clint Eastwood loved what we did, even though we had no scenes together.
I'm speechless when I watch his performances. I've seen him in Broadway and on Off-Broadway back in the day. Then he's just incredible.
He was so generous. I was doing a stage show at the time, and one of the young girls it was a UCLA student, and she was like, if I don't get to meet him, I'll kill you. So I asked
Sounds like something I would say.
Asked if she could come to the set. And she did, and I asked John, and John said, of course. He spent, while they were setting up the kill scene that is in the movie, he spent like 2.5 hours talking to her about theater and everything. He was so generous with his time and helpful about theater with her. And then I was just a captive audience watching and listening to everything. And then Clint Eastwood liked what we did, so I got to do Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil for him. So both gentlemen were wonderful to work with.
What was he like to work with?
He was great. He has a reputation for coming in under budget, in under time. He has a crew that he's worked with for over 20 years. In fact, his DP I worked with on Speed 2 on a boat when we were in ship.
You're in
on
Speed
2 also out there on the
that
ship.
Movie. I know like a lot of people like the original, but I kind of like the second one too.
It was fun. We were on a ship for a long time and an island, so how bad can it be?
I don't know. Did you get seasick?
No. Well, unfortunately, our crew did a couple times. They had to take shots because we had some really rough waters. We were running away from hurricanes at the time. So, but it was fun. Sandra Bullock was a doll.
The perils of the job. People don't realize. I mean, you're doing a movie and you're on the run from a hurricane. The stuff you got to put up with.
They got to put up with.
And Sandra Bullock. Sandra.
Sandra.
She's got a great reputation.
And all of it true. As far as being very generous,
and she's
very
funny.
kind to her crew. She's great.
I've interviewed her a couple times. She's
Terrific time. And I did Days of Our Lives. That was my first Emmy nomination. Was from Days of Our Lives. Was great to be a diva. Have a wonderful, sexy husband, and all that stuff going on. And now to have Brad Bell put me in The Bold and the Beautiful. I'm very lucky there too.
Circling back in a way. Right?
And then I got to play a whacked out, crazy ex-travel agent, talent agent in Win My Academy from Acting Dead. So it's been great.
And you have been married for how many years?
44.
That's unbelievable. You told me that earlier, and you guys are still going strong. What do you like to do in your off time, you and your husband?
Well, we just got back from Mendocino doing a little travel, get out of town, just go do stuff. So last year we went to see family back east. So
where are you from?
I'm from Florida, Georgia, and Wisconsin. My husband, who I didn't meet.
I know you were born in Jacksonville, raised in Atlanta.
Raised in Milwaukee. and then Atlanta, because my stepdad was with the Boston Braves, Milwaukee Braves, Atlanta Braves.
Oh, really?
So, yeah.
What did he do?
He was in the front office. He's known as the biggest little man in baseball. He was only 4'2".
What's his name?
Donald Davidson.
Okay, that's the guy who ran a nightclub, right? They called him Chubby.
That was my real dad.
That your real dad? Okay, so
I've had a
real dad. They called Chubby.
yes.
Okay, Chubby
No,
Davidson.
no, Chubby.
See, I'm telling you, in your bio, that's what it says.
Oh, I'll have
Somebody's
to.
got to rewrite this.
I'll go say that. You must have got that. Where did you pull that off
know,
of?
maybe
We'll better pull that
Wikipedia.
off and fix that. My mom and dad separated. My mother remarried, and my stepdad adopted us. So that's the reason my name went to Davidson. And
I see.
Chubby was my real father, who owned a nightclub and was, out there.
I love the name, Chubby. I
Guess
looked
where I get it from?
Now,
It's genetics, people.
you're not chubby, you're adorable.
Thank you.
And you know what? Your spirit is adorable. And that's
Thank you.
why I like to be able to meet people in person.
Thank you.
Even on the phone. You really can't get a feel from what someone's like until you're right in the room with them and you're looking in their eyes and you could feel their energy. That's why
We're going to do something together. We're going to do a thing of sisters or something.
We should do. Oh, wouldn't be fun? I would be the nut, probably. The nut.
But there'd be two nuts in the film.
I'm a little like Robin Williams. I don't need a script. You'll be like, oh my God. So
Just get the basic lines down.
didn't we have fun?
We'd have a good time.
That would be adorable.
It'd be
Some
fun.
kind of sister thing
There
and
we go.
grab
There we go.
one of the Tillys and Christine
Honey,
and a
listen,
few other people.
listen, we can do porch chat together. You can be the Yankee. I'll be the Southerner. We'll talk
I'll be
porch
wherever you want.
chat. See?
I'm Italian. I can play a great mobster.
I'm not Italian, but I do use my hands.
I'm Italian, and I come from that sort of a lineage.
See, I have gator people.
Well, that's why when I saw Chubby, I'm like, oh, I love this. They have nicknames too. It's like because a lot of my relatives, Vito. I mean, they all had some kind of a.
No, see, I have people things like Mutsy,
Oh,
the Queen. Guess which one?
oh,
I think you are a product of how you're brought up. I mean, even
a little
if you
bit, and then you bring that with you.
You bring it with you, and sometimes it's tucked away, and out of nowhere you'll bring it up, and it's. But that's what makes the world so wonderful. Is we need to be open to all of that. So
We do, and circling back to acting, the way you're raised and your family, it is you bring that to your role, right? I mean, what do you like to do best when you're acting? What's your favorite? Do you prefer television, film?
Oh, well, as an actor, the thing you prefer most is to being able to perform, to do something. I mean,
Film is hard though, right? Because cut, and then you got to do.
Well, film is tough because it goes ass backwards. You don't start at page one and go to the end of the script. So you're filming pieces in and out and in
Right,
and out,
you're like-
and you're trying to go, well.
Wait, I'm dead now.
Oh,
I have to
yeah,
die, and then I'm in my bikini tomorrow.
And
How does
like
that work?
big fight scene. That's why normally in big movies they do love scenes that are going to be in the movie first, because by the end of the movie the leading lady and the leading man may be hating each other. They don't want them to get into bed together
Or they
hating
really
each other.
love each other. In which case,
Yeah, it could
do it
start
again.
at the very beginning, do it again. But generally, that's what that is. I think it's when you're doing the television, it's generally, unless you're doing episodic. Sometimes episodic skips around also, but a sitcom.
I love sitcoms. Working.
That's just right through. You're not filming
Well,
pieces.
because it's like a little piece of theater.
Beginning,
every
middle,
week.
end. Yes.
Beginning, middle, end. It's a little theatrical because you're on set and you're working on something for the week, and it feels a little more theatrical as opposed to working on a piece for months, which you do in film.
Well, yeah. So that, and you also in episodic television generally is 2 weeks to shoot one script. The hardest work is daytime. It's the hardest work.
Why? Because it moves so fast.
Well, because you're shooting a movie script a day. So when I have memorization to do, I have like at least 10 pages per script. So you can figure if I'm shooting 2 or 3 shows a day, pieces to tie them all in, that's 30, 40 pages of dialogue. If it's just my show, 30, 40 pages.
How do you remember stuff? I was never able to remember a script. Thank God I only had little parts that were like 2 words at a time, like, oh no. And then that was about it. So, but, I mean, I'm not an actress, I just show up.
I don't leave my sofa a lot of the times. I'm sitting there constantly memorizing, going over stuff, because there's 5 ways to say, hi, how are you? And to make sure that you're listening to the other person, you try to get their lines down. How might they say it? How might I respond? What are the situation we're in? So there's a lot too. So I try to work on my lines and have them asked backwards so that I know exactly which way to respond when I'm listening to what's coming from somebody else's mouth.
We only have a few more minutes, but moving forward, what can we do? What can you do? Someone who's a seasoned actress and that people respond to. to open up the roles for women that are over 35 and 40. And believe me, even people over 35, which I don't consider particularly old, or 40, they're struggling to find roles because somebody 26 will find it. And good for the 26-year-old. I'm not taking that away from anybody. But there's room for everyone. How can we get that to
Well,
the
I mean,
advertisers?
I think, again, by producing our own stuff and trying to keep in that category, I've been very active in SAG-AFTRA as our union and stuff like that. And there's been a clause that comes up every single year, how to help women over 40 find more work.
But are they doing anything about it, or it's just a discussion?
At this point, it's like they think they're doing something about it, but it's been going on for 20 years that I was involved in the union. So it's like now I'm in another whole category. And there's another whole group that's moved up.
It's about money. So if they realize that people realize that, we have buying power, and when the advertisers realize that, that's
well,
when
I
the
think
roles go out.
the women all suddenly have to get together and go, what is the number one sponsor on the major shows that I watch or would like to watch? So let me not buy those things, go to those stores, go to those restaurants for a week or two, and let's see what happens.
Or just the opposite, say, watch us buy this stuff up and look at the power we have.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
One way or the other, just have to hit them in the pocketbook one way or the other, upside or downside. And suddenly they'll, I think, realize that there's, we have the power. And that's it. As we as women don't take the power. That's the number one thing. We're so busy being mothers and providers and nurses and caretakers and all those kind of things. And you had 3 children. I'm assuming, since I know what your husband does too, that your husband didn't take 3 years, 4 years, 5 years off to have those children with you.
No, but he's got such easy hours, or I think I would end up with one
But
kid.
you know what
and
I'm
that
saying?
was it.
But the wife, we have the children, and then we leave our jobs to take care of the children. And then by the time it's time to come back into the workforce, now it's like, oh, we're
Now
older.
what?
Now what? And it's a little more difficult. And you don't see that happening with the men.
I do. That's not really true. But the ones who stepped out or the ones who got fired and laid off, it does happen with guys, not as much. And I have people in the media business, and not so much for actors. I think women get hit much harder.
Well,
Female
because you
actors.
cross over to that point where suddenly it's acceptable for the man over 50 to have a 20-year-old. It's not acceptable for the 50-year-old woman to have the 20-year-old.
Well, girl, we got to change that.
I'm writing that in right now.
We got to change that. I mean,
But you
I
see,
find
but that's
women-
basically what it is.
I think women are looking really attractive. They're keeping they're keeping themselves very fit, and they look great. And frankly, I think they're looking better than the men who are aging. Men used to be able to age, just get a little gray. But I think the women are looking pretty terrific.
Well, I think we have, again, more products, more opportunities, more things to do. And I think that helps a little bit, too. Again, it's the buying power. When you think about back to your mothers, and they didn't have the advantages we have as women now as far as going to the gym, eating healthier. And, listen, I grew up on mac and cheese because it was cheap and we didn't make a lot of money. It's like those kind of things. My grandmother, because when my parents divorced, my grandmother could turn macaroni and cheese and a piece of hamburger into, a full meal.
What was that thing called? Hamburger Helper?
Well,
back then?
something back, but there wasn't even Hamburger Helper. It was because the grandmothers had created it that
Helper.
somebody went, let's develop Hamburger Helper, and so other people started using it and things like that. So I think we have more advantages, but less advantages.
But sometimes I also think, and we have to go in a minute, less talk, more do. Like you say, SAG-AFTRA, they're terrific. Don't get me wrong, I'm a member. But a little less talk, and let's just be proactive about it and say, okay, Starbucks, we're going there too because we need our coffee, or whatever it is, a clothing line. We are frequenting those places as well, and we're the ones with the money. Travel, God knows. I mean, I think like people over 40 probably travel. People under 40 are probably backpacking most of the time. Although I still backpack. I actually am that kind of a traveler. But you get my point. So I think it's really time to be real proactive. A lot of people talk. So we just need to get it out there. And I think the way to do it is produce your own stuff.
Well, I'm hoping. So we're working on it. I have a lovely lady I work with that we've got a project.
What is it? Can you tell me
I'll tell you a little bit. It's called the SOS Detective Agency, which stands for Sleuths of Size. So picture Charlie's Angels, 30 years older, 30 pounds heavier. They've lived life, and now they have to help their godson because he's been accused of murder.
Oh, they're going to have a heart attack if they're 30 years older and a lot of pounds on them. I can't see
Honey,
them
listen, honey. I'm 30 years older, 30 pounds heavier, and
This
if
is a
I have to
joke.
go over a wall to help somebody, you can damn bet I will. And don't mess with me and my guns, honey.
I love this. And
So-
where can we see it?
Well,
And
not
when?
yet. We've got meetings. We're taking meetings, and I'm very excited about it. So we're hoping to get it up there running. And
I think that's very exciting. And anyone in mind that you're going to be working with?
well, of course, I'm always writing for myself to do something like that, but I'm not attached to the project. In the fact that if there are those women out there that have done that, I mean, Sharon Gless. Look at Sharon Gless, Cagney and Lacey. I mean,
She'd
she's
be
dynamite.
Great.
Anne Marie Horsford. I talked to the Anne Marie Horsford. We worked together on Bold and the Beautiful. She just won the Emmy.
Go get Jacqueline Smith.
There
Why
you-
not?
well,
30
you know,
years later,
there
get a
you
real
go.
angel.
Honey, but she's still like a baby. But she could be Charlie. You know what I'm saying? So we have some
Smart.
great ideas going on there. So yeah,
Oh, I love this.
it'll be.
And in the meantime, we can see you on The Bold and the Beautiful
Yes,
on
you can.
CBS.
Yes, you
How
can.
often are you on? Are you on weekly?
You know what? I'm generally on a couple times a week. Sometimes,
Oh.
right now it's summer, and a lot of the soaps do younger storylines right this moment. So we have a great storyline, Texting and Driving. So we try to hit the points. I think most of the soaps do to say these are popular things going on. You shouldn't be doing that, and here's why. So we're putting it out there.
You got a lot going on. Thank you for coming here.
Honey, my pleasure.
It was
Anytime,
so
you know
nice
that.
to see you. I applaud everything that you're doing. I'm a big fan. So enjoy your summer and work hard, and let's try and work on something
Well,
together. It'll be
let's
fun.
definitely do something like that for
Yeah.
sure. We definitely work together because we think of things. And since you're an actress too, so
Oh, hardly. I just do little bit things when they come along. Somebody will call me and go, "You'd be great for that." I'm like, "I would," and then I
Okay,
go,
since you already played the ditz, you can be the receptionist at the
I can be the
detective agency. What? Who?
I'm quite active. I just did the marathon this year, and I just signed up last week to do the New York Marathon. So I could jump over a wall. I'm telling you, I don't have to just answer the phone. So you can put me to good work.
There you go,
Put
hon.
me to use.
There you go.
So,
See,
anyway,
see, right away you're excited. You want to do it. I mean, it's something. It's like
I'll take whatever you give me. I'm one of those people. It's like, fine, I'll answer the phone. I'll walk the dog, whatever.
There you
Just,
go.
Just give me a call.
But see, that's it. We as women can do anything. Nothing can stop us but ourselves.
Yeah. We'll end on that. Nothing can stop us but ourselves. Nothing's stopping me here. So anyway, it was a fun hour. Thank you. Thank you so much. We'll see you guys next week. Thanks for tuning in to Deborah Kobylt Live. Bye-bye.